this is a question I got asked recently, and they said, how do you organize your samples? Now, as you can imagine, when it comes to producing music, you are flying through tons of samples. So the organization of samples is actually very important. So looking at my computer right now, as you can see, I'm in Ableton. First thing I'm going to suggest, and this is big, is I go down here, you can add folders. So this is on Ableton, you can probably do this on any DAW, where I have quick access to all my sample packs and however I want to organize. Now if I go to here, you will see these are my current sample packs I have on my hard drive. The big first thing I'm going to suggest is make sure that within your sample packs, and you can either create them yourself, or let's say you buy them, I bought in the Excellent Skrilla pack, some of these I got for free as well, like the Cymatics ones, to have things very organized within these folders. So sometimes some packs come pre-organized, which is very helpful. So if we go to the Skrilla one, you'll see I can now easily be like, okay, let's say I want a kick drum. Well, I'm going to go to drums, and then I have kicks, and then even more so, I have dubstep kicks. As you can see, electro house kicks, hybrid kicks, so on and so forth. And one big thing when it comes to the psychology of picking a choice, and this is kind of random, this is important, is that remember that psychologically, the more choices you have when picking something, one, you actually have more anxiety about picking a choice, and two, you typically feel less confident even after you pick that choice. So one big thing I can suggest when it comes to sample organization is try to be ultra specific. As you can see here, again, I'm in the pack, drums, kicks, and even separating by kicks. When it comes to here, I fill cymbals, and not just cymbals, but crashes, hi-hats, rides. As you can see, some of these are just straight up samples, but I think organizing these a lot more specific, the more specific you can get, the better off it is. Because let's say, obviously this is that's a lot of 808s right here. But let's say, I am, again, looking for a kick, and I'm like, all right, I'm making a dubstep record or a bass record. Boom, I click dubstep kicks. This is not as maybe mentally jarring as opposed to seeing a massive list of samples. So the more specific you can be when it comes to organization is huge. As you can see here, all these are organized. A lot of these, like I said, either bought or I got them for free. And so organization when it comes to these is huge. The next thing I do when it comes to organization is actually splice sounds. I've never talked about this before in any videos, but what I do, first off, I have my splice sounds kind of section right here. I already did a video about how to connect splice sounds to Ableton to make it easier. I have a link listed below in the description if you want to check that out. But as you can see here, when I click packs, there's nothing. You don't see anything. And the reason why is the second I finish up a song using splice sounds, I delete all those samples off my hard drive. They're gone forever. And the main reason why is if I go to splice sounds and I go to my downloads, what's cool about Splice is I've downloaded over 8,000 samples, which is crazy. I can't remember when I first got Splice Sounds. I think it may have been like 2016 or 17. So it's a crazy thing in 4 or 5 years I've downloaded almost 10K samples now. But anyway, what's cool about Splice is once you download a sample or use a credit to get that sample, you can download it an infinite amount of times. So for me, let's say I'm working on a Moomaton record, the samples that I'm going to get, of course, are going to be very different than, let's say, if I'm making a bass record, for example, right? Very different samples. So any single time I'm producing now, and let's say I get done making a song, I will actually delete all of the samples I just used. That way, every single time I'm producing a new track, I'm almost starting from scratch, right? And let's say, I'm just gonna make this up, I'm on Splice, and these are some of the things I've searched recently. So let's say I'm working on, let's say, a Slap House record, because that's kind of a popular thing right now. I can search here, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start working on Slap House. Now I'm gonna only download these samples, and then when I download them, they will appear in here. That way, it's way more organized, less, I think, mentally jarring, like I said before too, because let's say if I had a bunch of Splice samples in here already, and there's a huge list of them, it can get super cluttered super fast. So for me, my organizational technique overall is when it comes to using Splice Sounds, which is pretty much my bread and butter for samples, I always start off with a clean slate when making a track. I think it's just way better mentally to know, okay, anything I see here is only for the track I'm currently producing. And then let's say I need something real quick where I'm like, all right, I want a quick one shot or whatever. Let's say I don't have internet, or let's say I just want to grab something really fast, as opposed to doing a lot of digging, I can go to my sample packs and quickly grab one of these, and I'm good to go.